Hey Jennifer, let's take a look at this week six final project that you have in. This is a great rendering, and I think a little bit of a surprise since the last version of this was basically the same version of assignment 2 of week 5, and so there weren't. I think what we normally get to see is kind of these iterations of occurring where the composition slowly gets better and better and better each time you render it. This kind of feels like it made a jump from kind of the sketch version that we saw the last time we saw it to something I think pretty much as much of a comprehensive final project drawing that we could get. Comprehensive, it has texture work, it has perspective, it's got material usage of marker and colored pencil together, you've got the complexity in place, and then you're dealing with things like the lighting and also kind of the marker technique in general, which we see a lot of different ways of it being applied. I think just the sheer variety that's going on is impressive. From the pattern that's on the on the curtains and the chairs to the really nicely done, although very kind of generalized in all the right ways, texture of the stone on the fireplace to the little details like the borders above the mantles. I think it just has so much to look at. It's so dense, and I think everything feels like it has a huge amount of investment and attention being paid to it. Things as small as again, like these textural stuff where there's multiple colors and it looks like the blender is being put into place, to the lamps that are symmetrical to each other, to the vase that has very much of a kind of a raku ceramic feel to it. It just, everything feels like you didn't kind of skimp on it, and I think that it feels unified in a way that a good interior can feel unified when you choose elements that fit together even though they're different. The pattern may not be the same as kind of the Mission style cabinetry, but the coloring is there. There's a lot of those oranges and these kind of hints of red that are in place, or the way that we see kind of blue being sprung throughout the piece every once in a while, that help to kind of tie in the fireplace. There's just a good amount of unity going on here, and I think the rendering just kind of helps things along because it's so clean, it's crisp, it's clear, it's very easily understood, and this is all thanks to good perspective, good lighting, good color choices, good marker application. So I think you're really making things easy for the viewer. It's impressive of a rendering for sure, and it's got a lot of wonderful things to look at, but it's just very easy to take it all in at once because of just how well you're kind of rendering it. Some great texture work. I love the floor and the way it has that very kind of glossy feel to it. I love the window, and being able to see kind of a very kind of simplified version of a tree or greenery outside, but still getting very much across that sense that it is transparent element that still has kind of reflective properties to it. I think also the curtains themselves are visually impressive in terms of the shadows and the highlights and the patterns that are included in it. I don't have qualms. I think I had qualms with the last assignment for sure. There were definitely things that I think could be adjusted, but here I think that you've got a great amount of contrast and detail and marker work in place that I don't really have much. I think if there were things to say, they would end up being very kind of petty anyway, and so they wouldn't even be worth mentioning. So it is, I think, a great final. I'm glad you got it in on time, and I'm really glad it turned out the way it did.